All right, where do I begin? Man, I have really gotten to you so bad that you are becoming more vital and you becoming more erratic and desperate than I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, you do have a mental disorder. I've never seen anyone waste their time, have so much time in their hands. They spent the last 4 or 5 days attacking people's objective opinion about their particular fighter, about your fighter, Gennady Golovkin, I should say. I've never seen it like this before, but yeah, I shouldn't be surprised that's coming from you. I mean, you made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you've made 13 videos attacking people's criticism or legit criticism of either Gennady Golovkin or Vasyl Lomachenko. Seriously, I mean, that is a serious issue. You need to really figure this out. You need to get help because that's bizarre and that's crazy. But yet, it's not too surprising because boxing is tribalistic. It's been like that for many years and it's far worse back then when it came to tribalism than it is today. So you behaving this way, it's not, it's a cakewalk compared to the people that behaved towards their favorite fighters back then. All right, but let's go down to the bullshit that you said about me. For one, you keep calling me a liar. Really, really? Okay, you said that I tell half truths, right? When I tell half truths, that's a lie. No, that is not a lie. First of all, when you tell a half truth, you tell a half truth. You didn't tell the exact information. First of all, I put out the best information I can. I tell the truth to the fullest, to my full ability, and most of the time I do. But I will admit, if there were some gray areas into that truth I missed, I would say, you know what, you're right, that's the truth, I missed it. Plain and simple. But you totally missed the entire story behind Gennady Golovkin and the Billy Joe Saunders situation. Where do I start on that? Now, Billy Joe Saunders, let's go down the timeline, which you didn't do. Billy Joe Saunders was offered to fight Gennady Golovkin in a unification bout after he beat David Lemieux, right? He turned it down because he felt that he needed to be compensated more. Of course, Loeffler and his team didn't want to do that. And, I can understand where they're coming from because, Saunders wanted to be compensated based off the risk, and he wasn't sure he was going to win the fight. He even said himself that, look, I have better chances of winning that fight here in the UK. I want it, but I want it here in London, and I need to be compensated for my services based off the risk. Essentially, that's what he was saying. Okay, fair enough. I know people want to say, well, Saunders ducked him. Yeah, you can call that somewhat of a duck. I agree. That was a duck. I came after Saunders for saying that. Okay? But you neglect to mention more than recently, and about a year ago, Golovkin has been called out viciously by Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders went so far to disrespect him by crashing his press conference in the first Canelo and Golovkin media tour fight back in London last year. He crashed a press conference. And he called out both Golovkin and Canelo in their face, disrespected them. And, of course, Golovkin was angry about that. He hijacked their press conference. And then he wore a T-shirt. You a bitch. You a fucking coward. Golovkin is a bitch. He wore the T-shirt and he blasted it over social media. He went far to leak the information, the personal communication that he had with Tom Loeffler about a contract drafted so that way he can accept the terms for the fight to take place in Kazakhstan for the unification bout. He leaked that information, and then Loeffler responded in that same message. I think it was a Twitter message, and Tom said, okay, I'm paraphrasing. Okay, Billy, I understand, because Billy was asking for the contract. He's like, where's the contract so I can sign it? Tom says, okay, Billy, I'm sorry. It's been a very hectic week. I'll get it to you in a couple of days. Tom Loeffler never sent the contract. Frank Warren even came out in an interview. I think it was IFL. He came out in an interview. He said, look, we were trying to make that fight. We paid a substantial step-aside deal with Billy's mandatory Avatar Kursity to step aside so we can make the fight with Golovkin. And they come back and tell us that we're going to pass up on, we're going to pass up on this. We're going to take the Canelo fight. That's what Warren said. He said that, I think, a few days before the official announcement came out with Canelo and Golovkin back in early 2017. That's what happened. So that was an opportunity that Golovkin had a chance to take that fight, and he turned it down. In all fairness, Billy Joe Saunders did turn down the first opportunity. You didn't tell the truth right there when you blasted me in the last video. So there you go. Now you say I'm condescending because you don't like my laugh? Well, too bad. If you don't like my fucking laugh, then deal with it, liar. Deal with it. I'm only condescending if you come out and disrespect me in a very, very, very vitriol way, okay? When we first interacted, I never disrespected you. I always wanted to have a calm boxing conversation with anyone. But when I have a constructive criticism or opinion of a fighter that you admire, I don't like to be attacked. And that's exactly what you did. You attacked me. Okay, and this is why this whole situation, this beef between you and I started a few years ago. Because you didn't like what I had to say about Golovkin, which was all factual. I did. Okay, I was giving him props, which I still do. I say, look, give him time. He's not there yet when it comes to Hopkins and Hagler. He's not there yet. So you got to give him time. He haven't fought the opponents that they fought, which is all factual. You didn't like that. All right. So I don't need to go into that story again, but that's actual factual. Okay. But anyways, you also said that I created the Jermaine Taylor title as clickbait. It was just tongue in cheek. Really? Only because I want to generate traffic, because I knew it was going to piss people off. So basically, you admit you're a troll by saying that. You're a troll. So you create clickbait titles and harass black channels to create traffic on your channel. Hey, whoop-de-dee, guess what? Guess what? Congratulations, you succeed. I have to admit, you did. You did it to the extent so that way you can attract and harbor enough racists and bigots on your fucking channel, which you have no problem with them commenting on and harassing black people. Really? Okay, fair enough. Now, you say I'm emotionally invested? Really? Really? I don't spend a fucking whole week attacking people who criticize Deontay Wilder. I don't do that. All right? In fact, I'm not a fanboy or a fangirl, as you want to call it, whatever the term is. Jesus Christ, people come up with so many terms these days. But anyways, I'm not a fanboy of anybody, okay? I criticize Wilder when I criticize him. I criticize him more than I ever praised him. I'll say this once and I'll say it again, okay? I don't go around and fucking say that he's the greatest, one of the best heavyweights of all time. I don't do that. He doesn't have the resume to show for it, okay? Of course, he's got to knock a few bodies, put a few more names on his resume. Even if he does that and he retires, within the next few years or so, I don't think he's going to come close to the guys of Ali, Foreman, Holyfield, Frazier, Marciano, what's the other guy? Ezra Charles. So, yeah, he will never come close near the greatness of those guys. I will admit that, all right? I'm not a nut hugger like you are with Golovkin. Plain and simple, okay? Now, do you want to know why I keep bringing up these past histrionic issues? I don't know, that's not even a word. About you making contradictory statements about Harriet Tubman and the fact that you said on record that Chris Eubank was going to beat Billy Joe Saunders. You said that on record, okay? I liked how you were trying to be clever there, okay, in that response. Because you, for some reason, brought up James DeGale and George Groves. What the fuck does George Groves and James DeGale have anything to do with Chris Eubank and Billy Joe Saunders? I mean, you are the one who made the actual statement, and you got called out on it by Chris Cuban. Plain and simple, you try to wiggle your way out of it because you didn't want to admit that your prediction was wrong for that fight. Hey, it's nothing wrong getting a prediction wrong for a fight, man. I mean, seriously, I get predictions wrong. I don't get them right all the time. I'll gladly say that. No one can always be right on predictions. But yet you have to go so far to cover that shit up. I just don't get it. Okay? You made the fucking statement. You like to say, tell me I need to stay on topic. Really? Why the fuck does James DeGale and George Groves have anything to do with Chris Eubank and Billy Joe Saunders? Stay on topic, bro. In fact, you mentioned Deontay Wilder in the video. What does Deontay Wilder have anything to do with Bernard Hopkins and Gennady Golovkin? I'll get to that later. But anyways, you want to keep saying that I'm lying a lot. Really? Really? And you also mentioned that I'm surprised that you didn't bring up Sugar Ray Robinson comment, because I told you in the library when I got on the hangout with you guys, this is what you said, that I will not discuss anything about history. I will not answer any questions about Sugar Ray Robinson and his career or the opponents that he fought or his achievements. I made that perfectly clear before I got on. Really? There's two contradictions in that statement that you made. One, on that hangout you had with me in the librarian, when you went through Hopkins' resume and Hagler's resume, you brought up history. Whoop-de-dee. And you also tried to compare Kell Brook and Gennady Golovkin's fight to Marlon Starling and Michael Nunn. That's what you did. What do you call that? That's a historical reference, what you just did right there, okay? But you know what? you did say, again, you did say that I will not talk about history. That was my agreement. I will not come on there to discuss history with you guys. That's what I said. Really? I'll tell you what. I'll let you speak on it.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Boxing librarian. You tell me, send you time. How can I do that when you block me? Dan the man has open access to me. He just spent fucking all afternoon going back and forth in fucking comment section. You don't think he could have opened a fucking, a Google Hangout right there and started it? He could have. He knew I was around. He has no fucking interest. Neither do you. Right? You want to fucking debate.
Hey, you said we were running from you, seriously?
Resume with me. When I'm on record saying his resume is not the best. So what were we going to debate? That would be a fucking fun one-minute conversation. I have no problem going and hang out with you or with them. I have no problem going and hang out with both of you together. So it's not complicated. Just send me a link. It's as easy as that. You know, when you do a Google Hangout, you can put the link right on the page and people can just click in and jump right on. It's easy. So, making these videos continuously acting as if you send me links. You've never sent me a link. There's never been one fucking comment from you in my comment section. Not comment section, but in my mail. Never. Not one. Even when somebody told me you were like calling me out when I woke up in the morning. I live in Taiwan. Our times are different. Maybe this is too complicated for you, but I would think, you probably can figure it out. You have a computer, you can like put it in, see the world time scale. I have no problem going in a hangout. No problem whatsoever. And you can pick any topic you want.
Thank you. Go. It's funny though, before I get into that, you also lied and got upset after you bowed out at Hangout with us. You said that I got double teamed, this, that, and the third. You were crying about that. So first of all, you just said you had no problem coming on with me and him at the same time. Second of all, that's not what you said when you decided to come on and hang out with us. You said you were willing to talk to us about any topic we want. That's what you said. You gave the librarian the platform to do that, and exactly what happened. So you have to own up to your words, bruh. So why did you lie about that? About the Sugar Ray Robinson thing? You lied. Oh, did you also mention one time that Golovkin was trying to make fights to the point that he was willing to give in on the lower split to most fighters, other than Canelo Alvarez? That's the only fighter because he's the A side, obviously. Before that fight, I should say. Did you make that comment? Really? I mean, seriously. I know you're gonna say it, and you never made that comment. So let's Tito Garcia speak on it.
Sean Newton just gets creamed left and right. And, he's got a new plan of attack. He's just figured, I'm just going to pull out the most ridiculous bullshit lie. And, yeah, a bunch of people are going to catch on, but a bunch of people won't. So, I'll just go that route. I mean, this dude just absolutely, positively pulled out of his ass that Eubank got offered an 80-20 split in his favor, and that Kell Brook's getting an 80-20 split in his favor. And it's just absolutely not true. Okay? I don't know what the numbers are, but they're both getting around 5 million, with Golovkin's going to end up a little more. But that's besides the point. He's telling you people, saying that I'm a liar, everybody else is a liar, that Golovkin is getting 20% of the money and Brook is getting 80%. I mean, what a joke. What a big, fat, lying fat mouth.
You know what's funny? Do these guys hating on this fight even know how much GGG and his team are giving to make this fight? Do they know? Do they realize the effort Loeffler has went to make a fight with Eubank? To make a fight with all these fucking clowns? Remember Canelo said that the fight wouldn't happen unless it was 90-10? And people thought, well, that's ridiculous. Maybe like if it was 70-30 or 60-40, right? But 90-10 is almost probably what Loeffler and GGG's team would have accepted to make that fight to begin with. The offer that Eubank
Eubank was getting was 80-20.
That's a big fat lie that he just made up to suit his agenda. Period.
Not to drift off topic, but the point is, you know, you can see why Loeffler wants to do business with Hearn, because the profit, the money, the exposure is good. It's good business. And they're fucking getting killed in that deal. Killed. Like, the fact that that's not 60-40 and them going to the UK is ridiculous. And the fact that Eubank had to, you know, make this shit go on for 3 weeks and then still not fucking sign the contract and let Kell Brook jump on it because he's not stupid enough to let that fucking one go.
Oh, the fact that you're lying and you just pulled that number out of your ass is ridiculous.
But no. We know this stuff always comes down to money. You know, it's never been a surprise. But then some guys want to twist and manipulate and change the facts to suit their narrative. Then some guys want to twist and manipulate and change the facts to suit their narrative. But then some guys want to twist and manipulate and change the facts to suit their narrative. Right? They will whine and complain when you know they're full of shit because historically he's always been taking low money to make fights happen because it's been so difficult.
What is up with this fucking liar? Historically, Golovkin gives a shitload to the other fighter. He accepts less money historically. Dude, that's absolute bullshit. The biggest knock on Golovkin there is they won't pay opponents, like big name opponents. Golovkin never takes low money. Golovkin is one of, if not the highest paid cable-only fighter there is, dude. I mean, it's a lie. You just fucking made that up.
R.I.P. Tito Garcia. An 80-20 split? Really? That's a lie. That's not what Eubank was offered to fight Golovkin. It was a 50-50 split. Plus, Eubank was going to get the pay-per-view revenue plus the total revenue, a percentage of the total revenue sales. That was the deal in which Kell Brook, the welterweight, signed on when Eubank pulled out of the negotiations. That's what happened. Now, let's get on to the Erislandy Lar. Okay, I know we're kind of going way off the topic because we're discussing more on Golovkin and Hopkins, but yet you decided to bring this up. Okay, but we'll get back on topic in a second. But I have to address the Erislandy Lar situation. Yeah, it all started with the challenge that Golovkin and his team put out. Remember that one? We'll fight anyone from 154 to 175. That's on record, and that's what they said on paper. Then they decided to scale it back to 154 to 168. What happened? One of the very best fighters from 154 and 168 responded to that challenge, Andre Ward and Erislandy Lar. Now, you said that, well, I didn't tell the truth in that situation because Lar's team never reached out to Golovkin's team to try to make that fight. That may be the case to some degree years back, but Tom Loeffler himself said he wasn't interested in that bout. So even if they were to reach out and try to make a deal, they weren't going to be interested because Loeffler himself said that, you know what, due to the fact that Lar is a Showtime fighter, it'll probably make things more difficult to negotiate, but at the same time, he's not the fighter that we have on our radar at 154. The people they wanted at 154 was Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. That's what they wanted. Fact. That's who they were pursuing. Okay? And you did not mention more recently, after Canelo pulled out of the rematch bout with Golovkin, Lar or his trainer on his behalf had put his name in the hat and said, hey, look, my fighter is ready to step in. If you don't have an opponent, we're stepping in. But guess what? Golovkin's team never reached out to Lar. They reached out to Jaime Munguia. They reached out to Spike O'Sullivan. They reached out to Vanaz Monterosian, who ultimately was approved for that fight. So, yeah, there you go. There was an opportunity, two opportunities they could have taken the Lar fight, and they didn't want it. And yes, again, all fairness, Lar's team did not make an initial step to make the offer to make that fight happen. But it was also, I forgot to mention, there was also another article where they said they're ready to take the fight. Let's make a deal happen. And the Golovkin's team did not bother doing it. And I'll post a link to that article below so you can take a look at it. All right. So what else did you mention here? Let's go to the other shit that you said, the fuckery that you said in the video. This shit is funny, man. It's real funny. Wow. Let me bring it up here. Oh, shit. Here we go. Let's see. Get that ad out the way. Yep.
Really? Okay, first things first. Why
Yeah,
do you call
liar.
people liars? I mean, am I a liar?
Not me, you.
Am I a liar that stated the fact that Golovkin hasn't won a ring title, hasn't won my ring magazine title, hasn't won an undisputed championship, was awarded 2 belts, only one. He won an undisputed title? No, he's not undisputed, but he won a unified fight.
Yeah, which a belt was given to him. All right, let's continue.
Beating David Lemieux. He has 3 of the belts. He was mandated to fight Canelo. It's not his fault. Canelo.
Yeah, it's not his fault, but the fact is that you don't get points for being, for getting titles awarded to you. Plain and simple. Okay? How can you say that so how could he use that logic and say that Golovkin has accomplished more than Hopkins at middleweight? Now we're back on topic, okay, on this situation. How can you say that, given the fact that when I pointed out that Hopkins never had that luxury of having titles handed down to him? He had to fight for all his belts. Golovkin was in the right position, the right time to have a belt awarded to him. So that right there does not make you accomplished than the other fighter. What makes you accomplished is that you actually go in there and win a fucking title, not have a title being awarded to you. Do you understand the difference now? This is elementary school stuff, kids. I mean, goddamn, you're an educator. You should know better. What's going on in that brain of yours?
The garbage. The fact that you don't want to give him credit because...
Of course not.
You want to put different fucking criteria.
Why not? I didn't give Lennox Lewis no credit for having a belt awarded to him by the WBC after Riddick Bowe threw the belt in the trash. I never gave him credit for that. But what Lennox was able to do is that when he lost that title in the ring against Oliver McCall, he avenged that loss against the very man that beat him and captured the title, got the lineal title in the process when he beat Briggs, got the undisputed championship by collecting 2 other belts against Evander Holyfield. So that's why I never gave Lennox no credit for winning in his first title run, even though he made a few defenses here and there. But still, though, I don't give him much credit for that first title run, but I do give him credit for what he was able to overcome after that loss, after the fact that belt was awarded to him. Now, I'm not saying that Lennox would not have beaten Riddick Bowe. I think he would have, but the fact is that I cannot give a fighter credit for getting a title handed down to them, just like a fucking WBA regular champion. I cannot give a guy credit for having a belt elevated to super status without fighting the other champion. I cannot do that. It's simple logic. And I don't give a damn what fighter is. It could be my favorite fighter, like Keith Thurman, for example. I didn't give him credit for that. Initially, I did, but I said, you know what? I retracted that and said he never won that title in the ring. So I can't give him credit as a WBA champion. I can't do it.
Whereas there's people in history that were in similar circumstances.
Like who?
For some reason, you don't crap.
Like who?
The fact that...
Ken Norton? Yeah, let's talk about Ken Norton, okay? Yeah, I know the WBC had retroactively awarded Ken Norton the WBC title after he beat, who did he beat in that eliminator? I forgot who it was. Was it Ernie Schaefer's? No. Ernie Schaefer's locked him out. Who did Ken Norton beat? Hold on, let me look it up. Let's see. Ken Norton was in that final eliminator. Because I know he fought Larry Holmes to defend that title. Jimmy Young, there we go. So he beat Jimmy Young, and then he was retroactively awarded the WBC title because Leon Spinks refused to make the defense against him as the mandatory. So, and that's what happened. Okay, and yes, you can also bring in the inaugural belts with Marvin Hagler. Actually, he wasn't awarded a belt. He actually fought for that IBF title against Wilfred Sifon. And the fact is that Larry Holmes was awarded the IBF title. I get that. But the fact is that Larry Holmes, the difference between the two, if you want to put it in a proper context, Larry Holmes was cleaning and dominate this division. Yeah, kind of like Golovkin too. But Larry Holmes fought much better competition and beat far better names during his run as the WBC lineal heavyweight champion than fucking Gennady Golovkin did at middleweight. So you are half right and half wrong there, okay? But yeah, I don't give Holmes much credit for being IBF champion. I do give him credit for his WBC title run, which he was completely dominated. Or better yet, Larry Holmes actually at the same time, even though he was awarded the titles, he was still beating the best that was offered to him at heavyweight. Now again, just because Golovkin is awarded 2 belts doesn't mean I'm totally discrediting him. No. What I'm saying is that you cannot say that he's done more, and I have to repeat myself, more than Hopkins as far as his title run before the age of 36 when he was given 2 belts. That makes no sense.
Hopkins won his first title against fucking Segunda, a guy who he drew with first.
Exactly.
In the rematch. A guy who they were both fighting for a vacant title.
Yeah.
Yet you want to praise Hopkins and praise other people.
Yeah, because he won the title in the ring.
History of boxing. But yet,
stop picking on your nose.
Critical of Golovkin.
Yeah. But again, why should I praise him for, why should I give him credit for we're giving him 2 belts? I do give him credit for cleaning out his division. Definitely gets credit for me for that. But again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but let's continue.
That's the lie.
That's not a lie.
The fact that you're not being consistent.
I am being consistent.
In the bullshit you're pushing.
Just like I said, I didn't give Thurman no credit for being the WBA champion. I didn't give Lewis no credit for being in his first title run as WBC champion. And I certainly didn't give Holmes much credit as he was awarded the IBF belt. However, he did beat better competition into that situation. Yeah, he was given a belt, but at the same time, he was making up for that for fighting stiffer competition. Okay?
Won in the ring at the age of 34, by the way.
34.
33. My bad.
He won the title, the original title, in the ring.
No, he didn't.
Was it a title he beat a champion for?
Liar. He didn't.
No, but Hopkins didn't beat a champion to win his first belt.
No, that's he lied there. Golovkin never beat a champion for his first title, other than Lemieux. That's it. That's the only one he beat. If you're referring to the WBA title, he never beat a champion for that. Okay, there was never a champion other than Felix Sturm. Okay, he won an interim title against Nelson. Who I think it was Milton Nunez. Yeah, it was Milton Nunez, I believe, that he won that interim title against. All right, and then he was upgraded to be the regular champion, made that first defense against Nelson Julio Tapia. Okay, when Sturm didn't fight him, Sturm moved out of the weight class and moved up to 168 and became, a 168-pound champion. Golovkin was elevated to super champion in the Daniel Gill fight. So he never won that title in the ring. You lied again.
Belt either, but somehow you failed to mention that.
I didn't fail to mention anything.
The only guys in the history of boxing who've been in a similar circumstance.
Yeah.
Wilder won his title off of fucking a guy that.
Wait, so let me get this straight. So you're saying that winning a vacant title in the ring is just as equivalent as being awarded a title? Really? What the fuck? Seriously? Oh, shit. Yeah, I know you're going to say I'm condescending for laughing at you, but that's a stupid comment. Seriously. That's a stupid logic and comparison. Let's continue.
Didn't beat the champion to win his belt. Stavern didn't beat Klitschko. It was a vacant title.
Yeah, but he won it in the ring.
And ended up beating Arreola, and Wilder beat him. There was no.
Yeah, I've been consistent. Either you win the title in the ring or you beat the other champion for it. Plain and simple. If you're awarded 2 belts or you're awarded a belt, I can't give you much credit for it. Sorry. That's just the way it is. That's who I am.
Action to actually winning the fight. Just like AJ beating Martin. Right? This is not unusual.
Wait. Martin was a champion. What are you talking about? AJ knocked him out to capture the title. Martin was the reigning champion. What the fuck are you talking about?
With so many belts, this becomes normal.
Never beating a lineal champion, never beating a Hall of Famer,
Never beating a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Hopkins, as I proved in my video the other day, didn't beat a Hall of Famer until he was 36 years old.
Exactly.
With Tito Trinidad.
Yeah.
So Golovkin just turned 36.
Yeah.
He just had a draw that most people felt he won.
Yeah, but he didn't win the fight, stupid. So why do you and others take that draw as if that he won the fight? He didn't win the fight. A draw is a draw. There's no winners and there's no losers when there's a draw. It's simple logic. This is elementary stuff. Don't you get it? Oh, man. Let's continue.
Against a pound-for-pound fighter.
Yeah.
In Canelo.
Didn't beat him.
And was just scheduled to rematch him.
Yeah.
Canelo failed a drug test. Right? So, if you would look at things, it seems like they're pretty much online.
No, they're not. What the fuck? Dude, a draw is a draw, a win is a win. You don't get inducted into the Hall of Fame, or you don't get revered for drawing in the ring with an opponent. It's either you win or you lose. You get rewarded if you win a fight. You don't get rewarded if you drew with an opponent. Plain and simple. Or you lose. What the fuck? Are you a win and a draw is just a similar? What? Get the fuck out of here.
But you don't want to be honest.
Now, you're not being honest when you make that logic that a win and a draw is just comparable. Really? Oh, shit.
It's the facts, right?
Beating a pound for pound fighter. So am I lying about that?
Yeah, you're lying because you're not being honest. The
What?
fact that Hopkins didn't beat a pound for pound fighter until he was 36 years old in Tito Trinidad.
No. That's totally incorrect. So you misquote what I said. I said when he beat Simon Brown and Glenn Johnson, they were either current, or actually they weren't current at the time. They were former pound for pound fighters. He did beat those guys. Glenn Johnson actually didn't become a pound for pound fighter until later in his career after the Hopkins fight. He did. That's on record. So when Glenn Johnson was able to achieve that and Simon Brown was able to achieve that in his time, you do get credit for being a former pound for pound fighter. Maybe I should have elaborated on that a bit further, but that's the fact. I didn't lie about it. I just probably didn't elaborate enough for you to understand. Liar.
Now, and he was just fighting Canelo when he was 35, and now he's supposed to be fighting Canelo again at 36.
Yeah, but he didn't win that fight. What is it that you don't get?
Both of those fights are against pound for pound fighters.
What? Wait. Okay, I'm not sure you're confused, but there's not two pound for pound fighters. Both fights is a pound for pound fight, which means it's one fighter. Not two fighters, one. Get it right.
Did he get the win? No. But my point is, he's fighting at the same level.
No, he's not. I'm sorry to say that. No, he's not. I'll say this once and I'll say it again. Golovkin has done great things at middleweight at the time, even though that division is so weak when he dominated and fought those guys. Yeah, that's not his fault, but he did what he had to do. He gets all credit for that. It's kind of similar to the Vladimir Klitschko situation when he fought in the era of weak heavyweight division. Okay? But the fact is that his wins are not as strong. They're not as... Let me say, yeah, they're just not as strong. They're just not as, the competition is nowhere near the level that Hopkins fought at middleweight. And again, Hopkins did not fight in an era where there was a lot of elite middleweights or all-time great middleweights. I've said that. But the fact is, if you compare the guys like Antoine Eccles, Robert Allen, to John David Jackson, to William Joppy, Glenn Johnson, Lupe Aquino when he fought, coming up at the NABF status, those guys are far better accomplished, and they were far better, had far better stature than any of the guys that Golovkin fought. Okay, they were better than fucking Norihito Ishida. They were better than Nelson Julio Tapia. They were better than Milton Nunez. They were better than Kasi Uma, Matthew Macklin, better than William Monroe Jr., better than David Lemieux. So that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay? So let's continue.
Right? Prior to that, they both have less than stellar fucking resumes. But you don't want to talk about that. You want to ignore it because you want to hype.
Less than stellar resumes, as I said. Again, they're not all-time great fighters, but their resumes were better than the guys that I mentioned that Golovkin beat and fought, which is true. And they were underachievers compared to those guys.
B-Hop and diminish Golovkin.
I'm not diminishing Golovkin. I'm just telling you the fact. Where did it go? Hold on. Oh, these damn ads. All right, hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Hold on.
Not friends. See, because
Hold on. What about friends? Hold on.
and things happen to them, I hate them. But in truth, there's nobody in boxing I hate. Even on YouTube, with many of the scumbags that I deal with day in and day out, I don't hate any of those guys either.
I don't hate you either, but I totally don't like you.
The LDBC, I don't hate them. I don't fight
Oh, yeah, you do. I mean, you're dedicating your entire channel based off everything they say. How can you sit there and say you don't care about them, but yet here you are responding to everything they put out when they don't even mention you? You're lying again. Stop lying.
I mean, but if anything bad happened to them, I'd feel bad.
No, you don't. You lie.
They don't feel the same way. It's the same as what's-his-face, who was a huge troll. When he died, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, R.I.P. Tito Garcia, the one I just played a second ago, his voice. Clowning you.
The fact that the guy wasn't that old, same age as me, maybe a little older, I don't know what he was, but it was unfortunate and sad to see that somebody from this community passed away, even if we're not friends. See, because that's the difference. You know, I don't wish negative things on people that I have disagreements with on YouTube, but the LGBT and other people you associate with, they do.
Well, you know, it's funny, though, because when you went after 78, you attacked his past, you brought up his criminal record, and this, that, and the third. I mean, when you do things like that just to slander a guy who doesn't agree with your opinion, how do you think he's going to react to that? And I'm not saying 78 is a saint now, but you have to understand, if you were in his shoes, he react in a very different way, and he'll react in a way towards you to the point that he just can't, he despises you. So when you make remarks about that, then yeah, you expect that type of reaction. It's common sense.
They attach names like pedophile and fucking all kinds of terrible names to people just because they have a different...
Well, you know, that's the difference between me and you. I mean, first of all, why would you associate me with them saying what they said about you? I never called you a pedophile. I called you a drunk. Okay, fine, fair enough. And I called you a troll like you've called me a troll, but the fact is that I never called you a pedophile. I never went that far.
Opinion, and you sign off on it. So much so that you end up losing friends on YouTube who fucking see through you after that.
I didn't sign off anything. First of all, if you're talking about the boxing librarian, then that was the only guy that, that's a friendship that fell apart. That fell apart more so that I did not want to, I was given the benefit of the doubt to Deontay Wilder. Okay? That's what I did. And at the same time, I was giving the benefit of the doubt to Anthony Joshua. Yes, I'm a Wilder fan, but the fact is that I have criticized Wilder more than I praise him. Okay? But the fact is, it seems like he and you just don't like the fact when I give fighters that you guys despise fucking benefits of the doubt. Okay? I'm being impartial. And yes, I've said that though some of the guys in the LDBC went too far to criticize Joshua. I even called them out on it. I said, you guys are going too far with that shit. Really? I have. But you know what's the thing about you and I? I have the heart to do it. When I see something wrong, I'm going to call it out. I stay in the middle. The only time I get attacked for not being biased because it doesn't go against your agenda, you and others. And that's what I don't like. You don't have the right to call anybody biased or unbiased, and yet you don't even set the example on your fucking channel. Real talk.
Right? Because that's how you are. Right? Two-faced fucking liar.
I'm not a two-faced liar. You are, bitch.
I'm just saying the fact that you're trying to really dig into the point you're trying to discredit every single one of his opponent.
I didn't discredit.
Yeah, you did.
If you watch my video, I did a side-by-side.
I did watch that video.
Fighter that Hopkins and Golovkin fought, and a lot of those fighters I gave Hopkins the edge on. So how am I trying to discredit everyone he fought when I was giving?
Well, okay, you gave him an edge on De La Hoya and Trinidad, but why not? What Eccles? Why not Allen? Why not Johnson? Why not Brown? I know you don't like the round win, but it is what it is. It was a good win, either way. Now, or the Aquino win, which is a good step up win for Hopkins. Better step up win than fucking Golovkin beating Nelson Julio Tapia or Milton Nunez. But it is what it is.
He fought credit over fighters that Golovkin fought. How exactly is that discrediting them? Right? You know, that's the difference between me and you. I actually gave opponents that he fought credit over Golovkin.
Yeah, I did too. I did. I gave Golovkin credit for beating Curtis Stevens. I gave him credit for beating David Lemieux, Daniel Gill. I gave him credit for beating Danny Jacobs, Kell Brook. Yes, I did. Gave him credit for that, and gave him credit for fighting Canelo, even though he didn't win that fight. I have given him credit for some of his wins that he has. I have. All right, and Marco Antonio Rubio, I gave him credit for that win. But we're talking about a side-by-side comparison. And I was being truthful. If you take those guys and yes, Willie Monroe. If you take those guys and you compare them to the Echoes and the Allens, the Keith Holmes, the Carl Daniels, and the Felix Trinidad, the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Simon Browns, Lupe Aquino, Glenn Johnson, John David Jackson, Joe Lipsy, those guys that Golovkin beat cannot be compared to them. They are inferior when it comes to their pedigree and accomplishments compared to those guys. That is an honest fact. That is true. Many rational Golovkin fans will tell you that. But you cannot accept it. You'll keep running on this narrative. You distort and you deflect, trying to push the bullshit agenda that you're trying to push, trying to convince the world that Gennady Golovkin's run is much bigger than Hopkins, which is not true. It is not true at all, and you cannot accept it. And you have this mental disorder to where you're going to attack anyone that disagree with you on that.
Whereas you give Golovkin opponents no credit whatsoever.
I did. I just did. I've done it many times. Look at my videos.
To make Golovkin look inferior, which is you being totally dishonest.
And no, I'm not being dishonest because I didn't even specifically say that Golovkin's resume was better than D-Hop's.
You did.
But my point...
You just said it. You just said it in another prior video. You said that my side-by-side comparison that, look, if you look at everything, Golovkin has achieved more. You did. Dude, how many times do we have to go through this? You went out and said that Hopkins' greatest wins are against welterweights or small guys, which is true at middleweight. They were. Just to discredit him and say, look, Golovkin has fought bigger men. No. The fact is what's so funny about that is that middleweights have had great middleweight runs. Great middleweights have all had great middleweight runs from fighting smaller guys coming up to challenge them. That's always been that way, and it's been like that historically. But when Gil Brook decides to step up fight Golovkin and Golovkin accepted the challenge, what did you do? When those commenters who went at Golovkin for fighting a small guy just like Canelo did, you went over there and attacked the commenter and told him that, hey, welterweights have always fought middleweights, dummy. That's the same fucking explanation rationale that I told you. You didn't want to accept that, but you used my talking point to go after a commenter who criticized Golovkin for fighting Brook to take that fight. Wow. And I screenshot that comment too. So let's continue.
For years now, and you know this is true, but you're lying because you won't talk about it.
Really? Who's lied so far? I mean, you've told so many lies in this video. It's crazy. And I'm not even done with it yet.
Is talking about how their paths were similar.
They're not.
Right? And how can you be hypercritical?
Well, in all fairness, there is one similar path. They haven't fought in an era where there was a lot of great middleweights. So that's one thing that I would agree with you on.
When guys like Hagler and Mihon had similar progression in their professional career.
Really?
Right? See, that's me being consistent.
Really? So who did Golovkin beat that was better than Benny Briscoe? I mean, who did he beat that was better than Sugar Ray Seals? Who did he beat that was better than Mustafa Hamsho and Juan Rodon, Alan Mentor, Vito Armaformo, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, John Mugabe, by the way, the same guy that you've discredited. Aubrey Myers. I mean, why? Really? Again, if you're going to refer to the fact that they fought in an era where the middleweight division wasn't as stellar as people would like for it to be, then yeah, I can see what your argument is. But the fact is that if you look at their side-by-side level of opposition, the competition with Hagler and Hopkins, who they fought, is much better than Golovkin. And from my understanding, I think you're flip-flopping on it. So if you're actually saying that's what if you're saying that that's the case, then please stick to it.
This argument goes back fucking years where we've had a disagreement over these type of things because you fanboyed for historical boxers.
Yep.
And shit on Golovkin historically.
Well, it started with you and your fucking bullshit racists and bigots in your channel. They're the ones who threw this out. They're the ones who started this mess. When I first came on here, I thought you guys were down the road in the middle. Okay? When you guys put out that bullshit narrative that Golovkin would eat up Hagler, he would destroy Hagler. I mean, that's your opinion, fine. That he done more than Hagler, he done more than Hopkins. I wasn't having it. I said, no. I respectfully disagree with most of you, including you, most of you guys, your supporters, including you. And what did you guys do? You fucking trashed me. You called me a black tart. You called me other sorts of names. And I wasn't having it. And that's the reason why we have this beef, because you co-sign with them. That's what you do. Plain and simple. Okay? I never came on here to start beefs. That's not what I do. I like to talk about boxing. I like to stay down the middle. But the fact is that people get so irate and upset over fucking fighters that don't, at the end of the day, don't give a shit about you. All they care about is your support, so that way they can get paid. Plain and simple. I mean, I can understand if a fighter is paying their, is paying your debt. They're paying your other, other debts such as loans, credit cards, rent, house mortgage, electric, utilities. I can understand that, but that's not the case with all you guys, including yourself. I mean, you talking about me fanboying the all-time greats? I'm proud of it, bruh. I have every reason to defend them. But however, I will criticize them when they did shit they weren't supposed to do back in the day. I have done that. Okay? So if you want to call me a fanboy of all-time greats, so be it. I am.
The only reason you and I had a breakdown, because prior to this, we had no issue, was your fucking over-the-top reaction to Golovkin.
No, I didn't have an over-the-top reaction.
That's basically what happened.
No, I remember that comment. You called me a fucking idiot. You called me a moron, saying that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I try to keep it respectful, but you did. You insulted me, and I didn't have that. You started this, not me.
And then Boxing Librarian jumped on and was the same, basically because of Golovkin, who I even came out on several occasions saying he didn't have a great resume.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But you're lying because you won't fucking be truthful.
I am being truthful. I am being truthful to the fact that, yeah, you have lied about how we fell apart. How we, how we had this interesting dialogue in the beginning when I first came on as an uploader. So don't tell your audience to lie. It was you who started that mess, not me.
Okay, that's not factual. The fact is that Hopkins did fight stiffer competition compared to Golovkin in his middleweight run. Now,
He didn't.
Yes, he did.
There's lots of fucking holes in Hopkins' resume. Lots of them. But
Like what?
part of
Like who?
a long reign as a champion.
Like who? Where are the holes? Explain it.
I didn't crap on Hopkins for having fucking fights with guys like Antoine Eccles.
That was his mandatory. What's the problem? I mean, hell, Antoine Eccles was a better mandatory than fucking, what's his name? Dominic Wade. And yeah, again, that's Golovkin's mandatory. I'm not going to knock him for that. A mandatory is a mandatory. Just like Murad Hakar, which people didn't know, that was a WBC mandatory for Hopkins. And that was a horrific mandatory. And that guy should not have been in the ring with Hopkins. Well, that's not his fault because the WBC mandated that fight. All right? So why are you shitting on him for fighting Eccles?
The point is, if you're going to rule a division for a long period of time, you're going to fight some guys like that. A guy with the historical boxing knowledge that you apparently have, or you like to credit yourself with having, would know that.
Oh, I know more than you.
You would know that boxers throughout history.
Oh, shit. Why do I keep doing this?
What the real reign as a champion. I didn't crap on Hopkins for having fucking fights with guys like Antoine Eccles and Venom. Is if you're going to rule a division for a long period of time, you're going to fight some guys like that. A guy with the historical boxing knowledge that you apparently have, or you like to credit yourself with having, would know that. You would know that boxers throughout history have fought less than stellar opposition.
Of course.
Career.
I've said that many times. And I've said that about Hagler. I've said that about Hopkins. I've said that about Klitschko. And yes, of course, Golovkin. But let's be truthful here. All three of those guys have far better runs than Golovkin has as a dominant champion. That's a fact, bruh. I hate repeating myself. You just having a hard time accepting it. Why? Because you have this mental disorder. Okay? Let me give you an example. One of my favorite fighters is Ezzard Charles. My favorite fighter of all time, okay? Now, Ezzard Charles probably has one of the best resumes. Yeah, undoubtedly has one of the top 5 resumes of all time. But I'll tell you one thing. The fact is that I would accept the argument that Muhammad Ali probably was greater than Ezzard Charles. He probably was, okay? I'm not going to go around and say, hey, you're bullshitting, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you're distorting facts, this, that, and the third. I don't do that, okay? I'm not going to do that, all right? The fact is, if the people want to go ahead and say that Muhammad Ali had a better career than Ezzard Charles, then that's their opinion. There's an argument that could be made. But I'm not going to sit here and trash everyone's opinion or constructive statement about the fighter that you like so much and trash your opinions and make, a string of videos attacking them. I got time to do all that. Plain and simple. That's not what I'm about. Look, I got people who disagree with me on the Hopkins and Hagler comparison. They said they felt that Golovkin had a better run. That's their opinion. But they haven't came on my channel being disrespectful, like Olaf the Mighty. Shout out to Olaf the Mighty and Jeff Boxing. So it is what it is, man. Anyways, I'm not playing any more of this. I'm done. I know this has been a very long video, a very long response, but my advice to you is stop fucking being a hypocrite and stop having these double standards and these contradictions, okay? You said that I go off on topic. Well, you went off on topic on many occasions in this video. You brought up Deontay Wilder. Well, I mean, what does Deontay Wilder have anything to do with the discussion? Yeah, I know you were trying to correlate the point that, hey, he didn't win a title. He didn't win a title off a champion. So why are you criticizing Golovkin for that? That's not the point that I made. Again, the point is that he was awarded a belt. He didn't win that title in the ring. Either in a vacant fashion or it was against a champion. Plain and simple. If he won it in a vacant fashion, no problem. I'll give Golovkin credit for that. But the problem is he never, again, I have to repeat myself, he never won a title, 2 titles in the ring. He won 1. That was it. Plain and simple. Dude, and you can call me crying like a woman. I mean, seriously, you're the one who desperately needs a woman from the looks of it. I mean, better yet, I'm not sure your dog ain't gonna be there that long. I mean, I know you love to make love to your dog. Bestiality, I'm just fucking with you. You probably don't do that, but hey, you probably fuck your dog for a living. Who knows? But the fact is that stay off the alcohol, and this is your life, Mr. YTBC Cop. I'm out.